right. All right. Better late than never. This is the Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles study group, and it is Tuesday, June 17th. And we got so involved in all of our conversations in that I forgot to hit the record button. So forgive us out there in video land. Um, we just keeping it real. We're late getting started with the recording, but we're certainly not late with getting into our activities for tonight. I had asked about the unhealed healer. Remember, that was chapter 9, and we're kind of doing a review of what was on our schedule. And I said, what is an unhealed healer? And Karen quite correctly said, an unhealed healer is one that tries to heal others without first being healed themselves. Is that pretty good, Karen, on what you were saying? And I was about to contrast that to my traditional church, where it seemed like as soon as you join the church, what they want you to do is go out and evangelize or proselytize, go tell other people how they need to come to church too, and so they can be better people like you become, though you haven't necessarily become the better person yet. So, A Course in Miracles to me was quite different. The emphasis is always on you. Um, you can't give what you don't have. And to attempt to do it is disingenuous, isn't it?
Yes.
So I appreciated that approach. Remember the statement in the Course that says, the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is what?
To accept the atonement for themselves.
All right.
When you accept the atonement for yourself, you won't have to teach it in a traditional sense, but you will teach it according to the definition of teaching in A Course in Miracles. What is the Course's definition of teaching? Jesus says to teach is to
Demonstrate.
Demonstrate.
Live it.
all right. And so you see, once you learn it, you can't help but teach it because it's working in you. It you show it in everything that you do. So that is a healed healer, and it is your healing that gives you the credentials to share it, to demonstrate it, to teach it to others. There was one other thing. I just pulled out something from chapter 10. And if you want to look at it, it's on page 182 in chapter 10. And chapter 10 is called, well, chapter 10 is called The Idols of Sickness. But page 182, do you see that section called At Home in God?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if you look at paragraph 2, you are at home in God, dreaming of exile.
Of exile.
You know, do you see it? Does it say exile?
Yes.
What is that? What's that mean? I mean, you could finish reading it, but just kind of in your own words, because it is a phenomenal statement. It means we're not even here, right?
Right.
Is that difficult to take in if Jesus is serious about it? You know, my book is called Earth School, parenthesis, Why We Think We're Here. The implication is that we're not here. What does that do for you? How does that change you if you accept that you're not here? You're at home in God. Is that frightening?
No.
Is it comforting? Sue, you were going to say?
Yes.
A couple things. If we're not here and we're with God, then we are already healed, coming back to teach. If we're here, none of us are healed. We are learning and growing. And according to Unity, we're learning and growing not only throughout this lifetime, but throughout every lifetime. So
Well,
we're always moving forward, hopefully.
I think that's a great statement. Let me throw in the mix one other thing, though. You got your book there, Sue? Are you reading it with me? If not, okay. It says you are at home in God, but it says dreaming.
Mhm.
Do you see the word dreaming
Mhm.
of exile? So, what Jesus is saying to me is this whole thing, this level 2, you know what I mean, Sue? Level 2 here.
Yep.
Whether you come here once or many times, there is no here. It's here is a dream world. It's not a real world. Now, Sue, you and I have crossed this path a few times before. It is very difficult to accept that this is all an educational, I would add, dream.
The educational part, I accept. The fact that this is all a dream, I'm not there yet.
Okay. And that's perfectly fine. But there's that word again, dream.
Mhm.
In the case of the Wizard of Oz, it turned out Dorothy there was no land of Oz. It was a dream.
Right.
Now, what does that do to you if you begin to engage with the idea? Okay, you don't have to, Sue, but for us that are willing to engage with the idea that I'm living in what I thought was reality is a dream world, you become what could be called a lucid dreamer. Have you heard that term, lucid? What
Yes.
is a lucid dreamer? A
Does
dream.
that mean you can go beyond your dream? You can see beyond past that to what's real.
Okay. So it's a dreamer who knows they are dreaming.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I see other lives.
Mhm.
I've gone into my own past lives. I'm sure you've done it too. Probably a lot of us have. I'm a hypnotherapist. I got another hypnotherapist to take me into a past life I had specific questions about. If this is a dream, okay, which is better than the reality, we still have to live in this dream in order to move forward to be able to heal. So maybe it's a lesson, it's an experience for us to move forward,
Yes.
be much further ahead on the platform and go to the next grade.
That's why I said it is an educational dream. Now, is education bad?
No,
Or is education?
it depends on the
It
education.
leads to enlightenment if the direction is proper. I agree. It depends on what you're being educated in or what the education is.
Mhm.
But my summation of A Course in Miracles after 20 years of studying that is the world is a lesson. Remember the prodigal son who went off into a far, far land to find happiness?
Mhm.
What did he learn? Happiness is not in a far, far land.
Yeah.
He ended up coming back home, and I'm thinking he never left home again. He didn't like trying to leave home. He liked home, but after he had something to compare it to. Uh, Dorothy apparently had a dream in The Wizard of Oz. Y'all know where I'm going with this. What was Dorothy's lesson?
There's no place like home.
Isn't that the same lesson that's the message of the prodigal son in the New Testament? You see? Are we the prodigals out here learning a lesson, but in a completely safe environment? I mean, you may think living in a dream is terrible, but it does have some benefits. Uh, you can learn a lot of stuff and never really get hurt through a dream. Dorothy, nothing ever really touched her. It was all a dream, right? But
Right.
again, it was an educational dream. And I maintain that the world is a lesson. So if the world is a lesson, instead of an attack on you, you start to see it differently. If you were in a classroom and you wanted to graduate, now your efforts are toward being a good student. Now you look forward to engage with the curriculum instead of running away terrified in this crazy, devastating, cruel reality. But now you understand that nothing can really harm you. This dream is a teaching tool to, as Sue said, help us to grow and mature and understand what we are. And sometimes a good teaching device to show you what you are is to help you see for yourself what you could never be. That's pretty smart, God, Holy Spirit, all of you guys up there. How are we doing here? I know we're in the review. I don't want to take too long with that.
I did find it interesting. I kept getting the idea, or it just struck me strongly, that they encourage you not to correct other people, and that eventually they will reach what they need to reach, and you just need to focus on what you're doing. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, and theoretically, it's a lot easier taking care of yourself instead of trying to take care of everybody.
Mhm.
It's really quite arrogant to think that the same one, the Holy Spirit that's saving you, won't save them?
Yeah.
Why do you have to do it? Why are you in charge? Speaking of arrogance, take a look at lesson 61. That was when we came out of the review period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in lesson 61, you see the title of that? It says, I am the light of
Of the
the
word.
world.
Oh, that was great.
Now, when I first read that many years ago, I'm going, I know you're not talking to me. There's somebody behind me or something. I don't know. But speaking of arrogance, in the first paragraph, Jesus says, I am the light of the world, is the opposite of a statement of pride, of arrogance, or of self deception. It does not describe the self
Hey,
concept
Chris,
you
I just
made.
reminding you to turn the oven off.
It does not refer to any of the characteristics with which you have endowed yourself. It refers to you as you were created by God. It simply states the truth. So I thought I was just this little bitty grain of sand trying to make it in the world and hoping I wouldn't get squashed and trying to keep quiet and don't make waves and just try and get through my life and without being squashed. But here's this dude, Jesus. Great reputation, right? Jesus, right? Probably one of the better known people in our whole reality. And Jesus says, I am the light of the world. My church said Jesus was the light of the world. How about yours?
Yes, same thing.
And now here's Jesus saying, no, Jim, you are the light of the world along with me. Why must that be so?
Because we're all one.
Yep.
God, you guys are good. Oh, wow. We're on all burners tonight, aren't we? Sue, do you agree? Because all is one?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
All right. So if Jesus was the light of the world, so am I. And I just thought that was an incredible statement when I first came across it. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, I think we sometimes don't live up to that.
Well, uh, we don't be it, maybe because we don't truly think that we are that. But here's a pretty credible source telling us that. What is my function? Look at lesson 62. Forgiveness is my function
Yeah.
as the light of the world. And then if you go over to 66, that's on page 110. My happiness and my function are one. What is my function?
Forgiveness.
What does that have to do with my happiness? Ah,
Mm.
what is the relationship between forgiveness and happiness?
From a psychological stance, if you can forgive, you're at peace. You have the energy to heal, to love, and to joy. And I'll use an example for that. Al, my husband, almost all of you knew him.
Yes.
When he found out that
Hi, Dorothy.
that he was going
Yeah,
to
honey, let me call you back after I'm on a Zoom call, okay? Okay,
Popular
bye-bye.
people. Go ahead, Sue.
when he found out that he was going to disintegrate, his mind and body was just going to literally disintegrate. And this all came from negligence. He said to me, Susie, we have to forgive or we will destroy our lives right now.
Mhm.
And so we did. We pulled out all our techniques, all our books on forgiveness, which we learned in Unity and in the Course of Miracles, because they're very much related.
Absolutely.
And we practiced forgiveness over and over and over. And we went everywhere. We did everything, no matter where Al was on the life's platform. He wanted to go and do everything. And at the end, we were asked to teach how we work together as a team. I was not a caregiver. I was a team player. And the one in control in reality was Al, not me. And so now I am going out to teach it. But he was the one with all this taking place saying we have to forgive. And that opened up our lives to there were a lot of beautiful moments within a terrible situation.
You know, all the silver linings that are there if you learn how to see them along the way. Thanks, Sue. That's a great testimony.
Oh, you're welcome.
On my part, lately I've been listening to a lot of Buddhist teachings, like on YouTube and that. And it's interesting how many correlations I see between Buddhism and A Course in Miracles. We were talking about the connection between happiness and forgiveness here. In Buddhism, they would use perhaps the correlation or relationship between happiness and non-attachment. Have you heard the Buddhist teachings on not being attached to the things of this world? And that is what enables us to keep our peace. Attachments to ephemeral things. What I mean ephemeral? Attachments to things that change, that go up and down, that come and go, kind of like clouds, right? You're setting yourself up for disappointment when you desire things like clouds. How long can you keep a cloud? So you're just going to hurt yourself over and over. Here in level 2, things come and go, don't they? Can
Yes.
you name anything here that doesn't come and go? So don't cling to things that come and go. Cling to things that are permanent, that are eternal. That thing that's looking at you, look in the mirror. You know that one that doesn't get older? It just observes. That's the one that's never changed since you were a kid here. Yes? Still brings a smile to your face no matter what. Anyhow, you know me, I go too long sometime. Any other comments here? All right. So, there is one last one. I'm going to leave this for sure. Tell me about lesson 68. One of my favorites. The title is Love Holds No Grievances. So somebody teach us about love holds no grievances quickly. and we'll move on. Hey, what happened? You were all
I believe they're opposites of each other, and you can't have two opposites happening at the same time.
So, what has that got to do with love holds no grievances? What?
Well,
And
grievances are negative and love is positive.
Why do you need both, Ron?
Why do we need both?
Uh, I thought you said you have to have opposites.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, so
you were thinking
I'm
it.
saying they are opposites.
okay,
We don't have to have them, but we do in this world of the ego.
yeah. So go ahead, sir. I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry. Were you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's,
Yeah, Phil,
yeah, Karen,
here.
To,
go
Oh.
ahead.
to me, a grievance is like unforgiveness.
A grievance says something's wrong. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How could everything be wrong if you're in an educational dream?
It's clouding the
What's
love
wrong
that's
with
there.
that? Oh, what's wrong with cloudy?
You can't
What's
see
wrong
past.
with sunny? What's wrong with any of it if seen rightly? All things are lessons, lesson 193, right? All things are lessons God would have me learn. How many things are lessons God would have me learn? How many?
Every.
All of them.
So, is education good in
Yeah.
God's hands, in the Holy Spirit's hands?
Yeah.
So, why would you complain about anything? Now, I didn't say you couldn't make changes, okay? But to go into it with an attitude that it's wrong, it's upsetting, is going to keep you from dealing with it in a reasonable way. When you get angry, you literally go insane. You lose reason. Until you calm down, nobody can even try to reason. You know how you are when you get really angry, don't you? Is
Yeah.
that the only one that's been, that's
Mm-mm.
been angry?
Nope.
You literally lose your mind. How can you make good decisions when you lose your mind? So learn not to lose your mind so you can engage with the issue. And you'll be more effective in dealing with it if you don't see it as a grievance. A new question that arises in place of anger is, why is this going on? What lesson is this teaching me? And you'll find that you'll come up with some new answers to why things are going on, even to why that car cut you off on the freeway, right? Or you keep
How do
running
you deal
into
with
that.
that in reference to the senator and the other gentleman, Hoffman, and I forgot the other one's name, who was murdered in I think Minneapolis.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty difficult to deal with. That's a lesson.
How about 6 million Jews that were killed under Hitler?
Right.
Is it more
Or what
difficult than
happened
that?
October 7th, or what's happening
Okay.
now.
Well, is the legislators in Minnesota, is that more difficult than the Jewish situation
No, it's all horrible.
The Hamas attack, which one?
They're all horrible.
Okay, they're equally horrible, aren't they?
Yeah. One is the greater numbers, but they're equally horrible.
Yeah. One death diminishes me, right? What is wrong with this place where tragedy stands right next to beauty? How can beauty and ugliness stand together? Well, of course, has answers on that. It's because your mind is split and you see good and evil. Yes?
True.
Your mind, thought power is the most powerful thing there is. So when you entertain both as if both of them were real, your reality becomes both of them. What is the solution? Since you don't like serving two thought systems, two masters, what should you do if you don't like the results of serving two masters?
Be in balance.
Let it go.
No,
Let it
no.
go.
You keeping them in balance is what's maintaining good and evil. What should you do? I'll ask it again. Forgive me,
Serve one.
we'll come back.
Serve one master.
You need to let one go completely. Don't see it that way, and it'll stop manifesting that way. But here's the other issue, Sue. This is why I want to come back.
Okay.
Who is you?
All of us.
That's the friggin' problem. Yes, you can do it for yourself, but the significance of it, since we're all one, is so minute it won't even register on a larger scale. There's no way around it. We have to have enough brothers and sisters willing to commit to seeing this way and thinking this way to see it manifest on a significant scale. The paradox is that you can't do it alone, but it can't happen without you either. We're all in this together. Man, I got off. Are we even to our session tonight? No.
That was very important.
I'm on fire tonight too. All right. Comments. I'll shut up. Let this thing play out. It's for my good. It is chock full of lessons, and lessons are valuable. Some of my lessons have been more valuable than my direct rewards. How about you? Maybe I didn't see it at the time, but as I look back on it, some of those terrible things, like when I had cancer, were blessings. I learned a lot from having cancer. Haven't you learned?
Mhm.
All right. Seriously, I'm shutting up. Tonight, we're starting chapter. Everybody okay? I don't want to rush
Yeah, I
out.
want to say something, please.
Yes.
All of us have learned. I think everybody in this room has either been part of Unity or part of the Course in Miracles. And either you leave Unity or you grow with Unity. And most of the people I came in with from Renaissance Unity a million years ago, many of them are still there. They're still working it through to learn and to grow. And for me, what really works and makes a difference is, I mean, my daughter's been threatened. She's Jewish, obviously. And I know people from the Holocaust. And I know people in Israel and what's really going on in Israel, which is very different than what you read in the newspapers. It's much worse. But the fact is, I was taught and I accepted it as a reality that it could be done, and I did it. I put things in a compartment. I deal with it, but I put it in a compartment. And then I go over here and I can enjoy life and be lighthearted. And I can focus on what I really want to be like. Now, if I couldn't put it in a day, I call them daytime compartments. If I couldn't do that, I'd be a mess.
Yeah, because it would flood into everything.
It would flood in. It would take over.
Yeah.
And there are people who are falling apart and committing suicide, and the mental health, the amount of people in mental health today is the highest it has ever been.
Yes.
In this country.
So you have to be
not a compliment.
You have to be strong-minded in order to do those activities to save your peace, and so you can keep living your life in a joyful way. And again, I'm thinking about Al must have helped you learn some of those things as well.
He did. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. You know, when people say that must have been horrific, 7.5 years of him declining, I says there were so many beautiful moments, and that's what I remember. I know how sick he was, but I would prefer to put my mind on the beautiful moments, and there were a lot of them.
Indeed.
That he had a lot of nerve.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. We have not even done readers yet, like we're even thinking about reading tonight. Why don't we go ahead and do that? I'm just gonna go through the usual yes or no. Nancy, yes or no?
No.
What was that?
Unfortunately, no.
All right. Ron, you're reading, right?
Yes.
All right. Hilda, yes or no?
No.
All right. Karen, yes or no?
Yes.
Jan had to leave. Remember, she said she had to leave early. Joan, are you reading? Joan?
Yes.
All right. And Sue?
Yes.
All right. So here's what we have. Ron is 1, Karen is 2, Joan is 3, and Sue is 4, and Jim is 5. How's that? Will that get us going?
Please tell us what page.
Sure. We're starting out tonight on page 193 in the text. It's chapter 11, God or the Ego. Okay. Give everybody a chance to find it. All right. Ron, you ready? Please.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Chapter 11, God or the Ego, Introduction. Either God or the ego is insane. If you will examine the evidence on both sides fairly, you will realize this must be true. Neither God nor the ego proposes a partial thought system. Each is internally consistent, but they are diametrically opposed in all respects, so that partial allegiance is impossible. Remember, too, that their results are as different as their foundations, and they're fundamentally I have a hard time, irreconcilable, something like that. Irreconcilable. Natures cannot be reconciled by vacillations between them. Nothing alive is fatherless, for life is creation. Therefore, your decision is always an answer to the question, who is my father? And you will be faithful to the father you choose.
And so let's go to our next reader here. Karen?
Yet, what would you say to someone who believed this question really involves conflict? If you made the ego, how can the ego have made you? The authority problem is still the only source of conflict because the ego was made out of the wish of God's Son to father him. The ego then is nothing more than a delusional system in which you made your own father. Make no mistake about this. It sounds insane when it is stated with perfect honesty, but the ego never looks on what it does with perfect honesty. Yet that is its insane premise, which is carefully hidden in the dark cornerstone of its thought system. And either the ego which you made is your father, or its whole thought system will not stand.
All right, so that's our 2 paragraphs for discussion. What say ye?
Yeah,
True.
you can't serve two masters.
There's that same theme again, right? And Joan and Ron, that was kind of the theme from ACIM talks last night. You can't serve 2 masters. And particularly these 2, because to the ego, the Holy Spirit's insane. To the ego, the idea of God appears to be insane, that all is one. To the ego, all is not one, right? The ego was made by the tiny mad idea, according to this course. Would you agree? It is kind of the symbol of separation. We're all individuals. We all have our own separate heavens where we can be and act autonomously, where we're completely independent unless we want to engage with another. And the reasons for our engagement with each other are generally transactional. Even the ego's love is transactional. The reason I'm loving you is to rob you because I'm not complete and I need you to complete me. So gimme. Maybe those are not terms you've heard this special love stuff put in before, but that is a fairly honest assessment because your partner's going, okay, let's do this because I want to rob you too. Anyhow, I digress. 2 opposites, God or the ego. What the Course is saying is different about them is that God, it says, created you and you created the ego. So why would you follow the ego as though the ego was your creator? How could the ego be your creator if you made it? are those kind of the questions in these two paragraphs? And that is what the initial sections in this chapter are about on the basis of fatherhood. Let comments from you, though, as usual. I gotta quit talking. Paragraphs 1 or 2, or you want to move on, or what?
We don't have the power to create ourselves. We don't have that ability. We can say we do, but we really don't.
All right. This course says everything here. Everything has a father. Let me give you another word for father. Every effect has a cause. You with me? You hear those terms here also, don't you?
Yep.
Cause and effect is the most fundamental law there is. You cannot have an effect without a cause. Similarly, you cannot have a cause unless it produces effects. So, what is the ego's cause? You. Yes, you made it up, right? According to this. So, how can you follow the dictates? I mean, are you just using the ego to carry out your tiny mad ideas? And then you can project it onto something? Oh, it wasn't me, it was my ego. Let's continue. He's got a lot more to say here, and we're up to Joni, please.
Okay. Paragraph 3. You make by projection, but God creates by extension. The cornerstone of God's creation is you, for his thought system is light. Remember the rays that are there unseen? The more you approach the center of his thought system, the clearer the light becomes. The closer you come to the foundation of the ego's thought system, the darker and more obscure becomes the way. Yet even the little spark in your mind is enough to lighten it. Bring this light fearlessly with you and bravely hold it up to the foundation of the ego's thought system. Be willing to judge it with perfect honesty. Open the dark cornerstone of terror on which it rests and bring it out into the light. There you will see that it rested on meaninglessness and that everything of which you have been afraid was based on nothing.
Thanks, Joe. Sue, paragraph 4 will finish this introduction.
My brother, you are part of God and part of me. When you have at last looked at the ego's foundation without shrinking, you will also have looked upon ours. I come to you from our Father to offer you everything again. Do not refuse it in order to keep a dark cornerstone hidden, for its protection will not save you. I give you the lamp, and I will go with you. You will not take this journey alone. I will lead you to your true Father, who hath need of you as I have. Will you not answer the call of love with joy?
Or do I have to come get you kicking and screaming the whole time? Are you going to take this class and get the A? Or are you going to get through it with the old C minus attitude? Like you really don't want happiness and joy. why would I have to force this on you? Which I won't do, by the way. But it's insane that you would shun this. Was it last time we met and I read that thing about to what else can the Holy Spirit appeal except all glory, all power, and all glory? Who would turn that down? You'd have to be insane to turn it down. All right, isn't that how we started out about insanity? I wanted to ask Karen about this one, though, okay? I remember the first time we got together. Look at paragraph 3. That first sentence, it says, you make by projection, but God creates by extension. What's the difference between projection and extension?
Projection is where you let it go and put it onto something else. And extension is where you are holding it and
When we
reaching
make
out.
by projection, that's not necessarily the truth. When we create something or when God creates something, that's definitely the truth.
Okay. And so projection is an act of separating yourself from it. Extension is a matter of sharing it. Show you what I mean. Take the electricity you use in your house, okay? Y'all know it comes from pretty much a central source, right? And it extends into our individual home. So that outlet that you plug in your toaster into is merely connecting with a source that has been shared. Would the electricity work if it was done by projection? Would
No.
your electrical outlet work if
No.
it's not connected to a source? That's extension, right?
Okay.
So that did a great job as I expected. I didn't have to worry about putting Karen on the spot because she can handle it. I see that now. In paragraph 4, though, I think Jesus makes a very loving proposal. He says, my brother, you are part of God and part of me. Because all is one in this thought system, right? Is there anything separate there, or are they simply extensions of one another? You've seen one, you've seen them all, right? And he closes by saying, I will lead you to your true Father who have need of you as I have. But he says something like, where was it about? In sentence 5, I'll not only give you the lamp, but I will go with you. Don't be afraid. I'm a way shower. I'll give you the way. Plus, I'll walk you there. Is that a good offer to you? Or would you want to continue the loneliness of your ego? Yeah, well, I'm by myself. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm separate. And, that's being separate. It's really lonely. It's really sad. I don't feel the warmth of relationships and connection, the power of being part of something. So, if you accept fatherhood, which he's getting ready to talk about next, then please, I know you may find it, your ego finds it insulting, but you're not separate. You're part of a greater life, a glorious life. No, I want to keep this one little pitiful thing here. I have no father. I am my own father. I quit. We're back to Jim, right? The gifts of fatherhood. All right. You have learned your need of healing. Would you bring anything else to the sonship, recognizing your need of healing for yourself? For in this lies the beginning of the return to knowledge, the foundation on which God will help build again the thought system you share with Him. Not one stone you place upon it, but will be blessed by Him, for you will be restoring the holy dwelling place of His Son, where He wills His Son to be and where He is, right? At home in God, dreaming of exile. You with me? In whatever part of the mind of God's Son you restore this reality, you restore it to yourself. Every time you help restore it to a brother or sister, you're restoring it to yourself. Why is that?
Because we're all one.
Excellent. You dwell in the mind of God with your brother, for God Himself did not will to be lonely. Yes? We're back to Ron, or the paragraph 2.
Yes. To be alone is to be separated from infinity. But how can this be if infinity has no end? No one can be beyond the limitless, because what has no limits must be everywhere. There are no beginnings and no endings in God, whose universe is Himself. Can you exclude yourself from the universe or from God, who is the universe? I and my Father are one with you, for you are part of us. Do you really believe that part of God can be missing or lost to Him?
Thank you, Ron. Karen, paragraph 3.
If you were not part of God, His will would not be unified. Is this conceivable? Can part of His mind contain nothing? If your place in His mind cannot be filled by anyone except you, and your filling it was your creation, without you, there would be an empty place in God's mind. Extension cannot be blocked, and it has no voids. It continues forever. However much it is denied, your denial of its reality may arrest it in time, but not in eternity. That is why your creations have not ceased to be extended, and why so much is waiting for your return.
How are we doing so far? We've read 4 paragraphs of this. Comments or questions? Is it making sense? It's becoming obvious that we're not going to get to our lesson tonight. So why don't we just give our full attention to seeing what we can do with the gifts of fatherhood? So far, does this make here, as radical as it may sound, does it make sense what's being said? You may not believe it, but just looking at the flow of it, does it appeal to your common sense that these statements of you did not create yourself, you are an extension of something greater, something that has a cause. You are an effect of a cause. You are not a cause in and of yourself. The audacity to think you are could only reflect the insanity. It could only reflect insanity. Yes, no.
Yes.
It's a lot of sense, I think, to me anyhow.
Is cause and effect a fundamental universal law?
Yes.
Why would you be excluded? It's so arrogant to think that it wouldn't apply to you. All right, so we got this natural flow going, right? Hilda, you good? You looking?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Actually.
Ron, Sue, you good, Sue?
I'm good.
All right, well, let's keep going. Do the best we can in the time we have. Joan, we're up to you. And it's that paragraph
4.
4. Okay. Waiting is possible only in time, but time has no meaning. You who may delay can leave time behind simply by recognizing that neither beginnings nor endings were created by the eternal, who placed no limits on his creation or upon those who create like him. You do not know this simply because you have tried to limit what he created, and so you believe that all creation is limited. How then could you know your creations, having denied infinity?
you know, um, I'll keep going looking at the time here. Paragraph 5, we're up to Sue.
The laws of the universe do not permit contradiction. What holds for God holds for you. If you believe you are absent from God, you will believe that he is absent from you. Infinity is meaningless without you, and you are meaningless without God. There is no end to God in his Son, for we are the universe. God is not incomplete, and he is not childless, because he did not will to be alone. He created a son like himself. Do not deny him his son, for your unwillingness to accept his fatherhood has denied you yours. See his creations as his son, for yours were created in honor of him. The universe of love does not stop because you do not see it, nor have your closed eyes lost the ability to see. Look upon the glory of his creation, and you will learn what God has kept for you.
God has given you a place in his mind. Remember, we said everything is mental, right? We talked about, okay. God has given you a place in his mind that is yours forever. yet you can keep it only by giving it. What's another word for giving? Start.
Sharing.
Extending.
Okay, extending. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Mhm.
All right. You can keep it only by extending it as it was extended to you. You follow?
Mhm.
Could you be alone there when it was given you because God did not will to be alone? Who in their right mind would will to be alone? It's friggin' lonely. God's mind cannot be lessened. It can only be increased. For everything he creates has the function of creating. What's another word for creating? Starts with an E.
Extending.
Extending. Love does not limit, and what it creates is not limited. To extend, right, or give without limit is God's will for you, because only this can bring you the joy that is His and that He wills to share. Or what's another word for share? It starts with an E.
Extending.
With you. Your love is as boundless as His because it is His. Why did God share or extend with you? So that you could continue creating. We are co-creators with God. We are co-extenders with God. Creation is always growing and vibrant and extending because we were created to share it. We are expressions. We are extensions of the Creator. Now, I'm not asking you to believe it. Doesn't it make as much sense as your reality? What is the basis of your reality? That you created yourself in defiance of all these universal laws that you see in operation everywhere around you? But you are your own father, right?
Right.
Either God or the ego is insane. We're saying make a choice, because two such opposing thought systems cannot stand together. You cannot serve two masters. So I hope you got something out of this. Sometimes these sessions don't go as planned, and I think that's wonderful, don't you?
Yep.
Yes.
Final comments, questions, criticism tonight? Well, I want to thank you all for being here. And as you can see, I'm all revved up from my vacation and ready to go. And so glad to see you, family. I wish you well, and we'll turn it over to Hildegard tonight, please.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I
I
am
am
the
the
light of
light of
God.
God.
I am the love of God.
I
am
am
the
the
love of
love of
God.
God.
I am the power of God.
I
I
am
am the
power
power
of
of
God.
God.
Mm.
I am the presence of God.
I
I
am
am the
presence of
presence of
God.
God.
therefore,
Therefore,
Wherever I am,
wherever
wherever I am,
God is,
God is,
God is,
and all is well.
and all
and
is,
all is well.
There is nothing to fear.
there is nothing
There
to
is
There's
There's
nothing
nothing
There's
to
nothing
fear.
to fear.
There is only love.
there is.
There is only love.
only love.
Namaste.
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 Namaste, dudes. I love you.
Thanks,
Have a
Jim.
great rest of your week, and you're very welcome. I love to share because it feels helpful to you,
Yes.
helpful to me. That's a win-win. Quite different than what the ego teaches. See you next time. Have a great
Good
evening.
night.
Thank you,
Care.
Jim.
Night,
Thank
Night,
everybody.
everyone.
Blessing,
Thanks,
everybody.
Jim.
You're welcome.
Love you all.